Well, the future of Star Trek is about to get really interesting here pretty soon. If you somehow did not hear yesterday that Paramount may be getting bought out by Sony for $26 billion in cash, and at this time I don't know if it's going to get accepted or not. I don't think anyone does, but seeing that news kind of ties into all the interesting things Star Trek has been doing over this past 6 months to a year, and let me explain a little bit. So technically speaking right now, Star Trek has 3 shows on the air. You have Discovery, but it's coming to an end in a few weeks, Lower Decks, which is getting one more season, and then Strange New Worlds, which is confirmed to have season 3, and it is confirmed that they are also having a season 4. Within a year's time, there will only be one active Star Trek show on the air. And I think this is all done on purpose due to the fact that Paramount has been getting shopped around the past 6 months to a year. There was rumors swirling around that WB and their subsidiaries were planning on buying Paramount, but that didn't work out. So after hearing that, I just assumed that Paramount was going to get sold to someone eventually, and it looks like it might be Sony. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing when it comes to Star Trek and the overall franchise, but it's definitely a thing. Before all this news came out, I thought that Star Trek was paring down due to Paramount being sold, the Star Trek franchise being sold, or Star Trek was getting ready to do a new series or launch like a whole new movie trilogy or something. So that's why they're kind of paring it down, getting their finances together. But apparently it was the Paramount being sold option. Now, if Paramount does sell to Sony, where does this leave Star Trek in the overall franchise? Again, I really don't know. I don't know how much Sony wants to invest in the Star Trek franchise, because as much as I may love Star Trek, I don't know how profitable Star Trek really is today. Even though there's a lot of Star Trek fans out there, it is still a pretty niche sci-fi franchise. It's not Star Wars, it's not Lord of the Rings, and it's not some of the other well-known franchises. And I say that because the average person doesn't really know Star Trek all that well. Yeah, they probably know Captain Kirk, the Gorn, and Spock, but they don't know any characters from DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, in any of the new shows. So therefore why I'm saying I don't know how profitable Star Trek really is today. Now, who knows, maybe if Sony acquires Paramount, Star Trek is at the front of their ideas and plans. They're going to start a whole new movie trilogy, greenlight 3 new shows. That's what I'm hoping. That'd be awesome. I would not be shocked if Paramount gets sold to Sony and Star Trek just kind of goes to the wayside. And another big thing too, Sony doesn't have a streaming platform. Every other main studio has a streaming platform tied to them in some way or another. Sony right now is still just leasing their content to Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, and any other app that still exists. So that makes me wonder, where's Star Trek gonna go? Because right now on Paramount Plus, you can watch all of the Star Trek shows. Now, would Paramount Plus stay around, technically speaking? Would it be rebranded to Sony Plus or something, and that's where Star Trek would be? Or would the license for all these Star Trek shows get sold off to Max or Disney or something like that? Who knows? There's a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of possibilities still, and I think this is fair to say, Star Trek is facing the most uncertainty since 2005. So this potential merger, acquisition, whatever it is, could be a really good thing for Star Trek, or it could be a really bad thing. I'm hoping it's more of a good thing than a bad thing. If Sony has any interest in creating new Star Trek shows, I think the best thing that they could possibly do is to kind of rein it back to what people love about Star Trek, more in line with TNG. Even if you want to kind of lean into the DS9 storytelling where you have more serialized storytelling, overarching stories, you can do that, but have more of a TNG feel. Also have some episodic stories sprinkled throughout the whole season. Also too, bump up the season total to at least 15 episodes, preferably 20. That's how you get people to really fall in love with your show for a franchise like Star Trek. And I personally would have this new show set right after Star Trek Picard, so early 2400s. You don't even have to talk about the events of Star Trek Picard. Have a whole new cast, whole new ship, brighten the sets back up, make it look like Star Trek again, not 2009 Star Trek. And that right there, you're probably in for a winning formula for a lot of Star Trek fans. Star Trek needs new characters that are well received and can grow into beloved characters. And don't follow the path of Discovery, because that path is awful. I know I'm just kind of touching the tip of the iceberg for this overall conversation, but I really don't care about all the other Paramount stuff, CBS stuff. That will all get worked out one way or another. I just care about Star Trek really, and I'm just really curious if Sony does buy out Paramount, where does that leave Star Trek? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Or is it just a thing? I guess we'll find out in the near future. So with that said, let me know your thoughts on the potential buyout of Paramount from Sony down in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Till next time, guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching.